it's more fun.
I really do. I think this concept of giving people information right now is going to be the key to our future.
This is K2, the breaking news station.
On World News Tonight this Sunday, in Kosovo, on patrol with American troops in one of the most dangerous flashpoints in the world. A study of athletes at the Special Olympics provides new evidence that the U.S. healthcare system may be failing the mentally disabled.
She just flat out said, no, I don't deal with children with Down syndrome.
At this high-tech Olympics, the finest minds in technology are racing to change the way we live. And the little box that gave Americans their first taste of picture-taking and changed the way we see ourselves.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight, Sunday.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carol Simpson. Tonight, we begin with American troops overseas, the 5,000 U.S. soldiers stationed in the Balkans as peacekeepers. Right now, there is renewed fighting between ethnic Albanians and Serbs. The fighting has left our troops in a very delicate position as NATO tries to mediate a ceasefire. ABC's Mike Lee spent the day on patrol with U.S. troops in Kosovo.
Charlie Company, 1st Battalion of the 325th Airborne. Their mission, to try to stop ethnic Albanian extremists here in southern Kosovo from waging a guerrilla war against neighboring Serbia and Macedonia. This night scope video from an American helicopter gunship shows the guerrillas using the very same trails the Americans patrol. Despite all of the sophisticated technology available to the U.S. military here, there is no substitute for foot patrols like this. Only a few days ago, a small patrol ran into Albanian gunmen in this very area. Some recent battles have been close, very close to Charlie Company.
Last Sunday, as I'm sure you already know about, was when the heavy shelling.
And then some of your colleagues did get fired upon.
Yes.
Last week, U.S. troops shot and wounded 2 Albanians in this area. The U.S. has recently been under intense pressure from Britain and other Western allies to send American troops across the Kosovo border into Serbia, where Albanian rebels have set up commando bases. But President Bush, wary of increased U.S. military involvement abroad, last week rejected the allies and ordered that U.S. troops stay out of Serbia. So Charlie Company uses handheld satellite positioning units to keep themselves within Kosovo and away from Serbia.
Americans killing Albanians, which is what will have to happen if we go in there, is going to put at risk the commitment of many now moderate Albanians to working with America and with the rest of Europe to joining Europe.
How things have changed. Remember, 5,000 U.S. forces came here 2 years ago to protect the hundreds of thousands of ethnic Albanians who had suffered at the hands of the Serbs. Now, NATO has suddenly asked the Serb military to return to the buffer zone to help the U.S. and other Western forces prevent an armed Albanian uprising that could engulf the Balkans in another war. So Charlie Company finds itself on the side of an old U.S. enemy, the Serbs. But at the same time, they're trying to keep track of which Albanians remain their friends and which just might be a threat to peace. What began as a peacekeeping mission has suddenly become more complex. Mike Lee, ABC News, along the southern Kosovo border.
In news back home, the Palm Beach Post has completed its review of overvotes cast in Palm Beach County during the presidential election. Overvotes are those ballots with more than one choice punched. The paper says the butterfly ballot, which so many voters said they found confusing, cost Al Gore 6,600 votes, more than enough to have given him the state of Florida and the election. Attorney General John Ashcroft has ordered his Justice Department to find out how former FBI agent and accused spy Robert Hanssen avoided detection for 15 years. Former CIA and FBI Director William Webster has already been asked to evaluate the FBI's security procedures. Mr. Ashcroft said both investigations are needed.
Judge Webster is a person who knows the Bureau and knows the intelligence community as a result of having been the director of the CIA. But I feel that the Inspector General, also with his independence and awareness, would have something to contribute.
Mr. Ashcroft also confirmed that he is setting up a task force on gun violence that he requested back in February. In the wake of last week's school shootings, Education Secretary Rod Page said today the nation should focus on, quote, students' alienation and rage rather than on changing gun laws. The 2001 Special Olympics in Anchorage, Alaska ends this weekend. More than 2,700 athletes with mental disabilities took part in the Games. Although the event promotes health, a new Yale University study finds the healthcare system overall is letting this population down. More from ABC's Barry Serafin.
Since 1968, Special Olympics has provided moments of joy and triumph for mentally retarded athletes. Although the athletes appear to be healthy, volunteer medical personnel have learned differently through a series of basic health screenings carried out at the Games over the past few years.
What we found was shocking. A fifth of the athletes that came through these very informal screenings reported severe pain that had been untreated.
20% had tooth pain. Nearly a third had untreated dental decay. About 1 in 4 needed glasses. Some were unable to even see the finish line in races. Those findings have been borne out in the Yale study commissioned by the Special Olympics.
Too many people in the medical and dental systems are not equipped or trained to deal with mentally retarded people, and their solution is awful simply to avoid them as patients.
It's very hard to feel that professionals are unwilling to even give your child a chance.
Rosario Marine's 15-year-old son, Eric, has Down syndrome, a condition that carries increased risk of chronic diseases. But doctors at first refused to believe her concerns when he developed spinal problems.
We could have prevented that if only somebody would have listened to us.
And when she took Eric to a speech therapist,
she just flat out said, no, I don't deal with children with Down syndrome.
0, 0.
Doctors have a hard time communicating with patients like Eric. Exams can take twice as long. But under managed care plans, the fees remain the same. The result?
There's a huge disincentive built into the system for care of the mentally retarded.
That puts an extra burden on parents such as Art and Anita Ball, whose 12-year-old daughter Jacqueline is mentally disabled.
Sometimes it takes going to several doctors before you get the care that you need for your child.
The Special Olympics and the authors of the Yale study say there must be more focus on the needs of the mentally retarded by medical schools, health insurance providers, and the government. But for now, it remains largely up to the families of the mentally retarded to make sure they are not forgotten. Barry Serafin, ABC News, Washington.
Still ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, the terrible choice facing mothers in Africa. What the best and the brightest in technology are up to. And taking point-and-shoot photography back to its beginnings.
This is World News Tonight, Sunday. Brought to you by GMC.
When you've got the power to tow 15,000 pounds, you'd better be able to keep that load under control, says engineer Nancy Huber. For the new GMC Sierra Heavy Duties, her team offers Allison, a transmission so smart it helps select the best gear for the load, no matter the grade you're on. Nancy thinks you should enjoy the scenery, not become part of it. Introducing the all-new Sierra Heavy Duties.
What are you doing?
Laundry.
Laundry?
But I'm glad you're up. I've been waiting to vacuum. Breakfast. I'll pick up your tray when I get back from the market.
But it's Sunday. Aren't you going to lay around and watch football all day?
Not if I'm going to finish that roast in time for dinner.
Somebody had their Minute Maid this morning. It only takes a minute, but the feeling lasts all day.
Honey, what's the setting for chiffon?
Happy family, happy browsing. Find everything housing. Everything housing. CaldwellBanker.com. Online. Happy family, happy browsing. Find everything housing. CaldwellBanker.com. Online. Caldwell Banker.
See how beautiful 60 can look. See how invisible osteoporosis can be. If you're over 60, there's a nearly 1 in 2 chance you have it. So ask your doctor about a bone density test and treatments that can help.
According to a new government study, if all U.S. workers age 18 through 64 got annual flu shots, the country would save $1.3 billion each year. Most of the savings would come from all those sick days away from the job. Government officials in the Ivory Coast have reached agreement with 3 leading pharmaceutical companies that could slash prices for AIDS drugs by 75% for patients with the HIV. The scourge of the African continent continues to have far-reaching consequences, especially for the next generation. ABC's Jim Wooten reports from Malawi.
It's been done this way forever. No bottle, no formula, just mother's milk, naturally. But this mother has AIDS and may pass it along to her newborn son. It happens all too often, all across Africa. So why does it continue?
It seems fairly uncomplicated. If infected mothers can and do transmit the virus to their babies through breastfeeding, just stop breastfeeding. But here in rural Africa, it just isn't that simple.
Some of the companies that make formula argue that their products would end this cycle of mother-to-child transmission. But poor hygiene and bad water, unsterilized bottles make formula feeding much more dangerous for the babies. Look at the numbers. The risk of contracting AIDS through breastfeeding, 1 in 5. But with formula and other substitutes, the risk of death is roughly 1 in 2 from diarrhea, dehydration, gastrointestinal illnesses. And until sanitation improves and AIDS education reduces the rate of infection, those numbers aren't likely to change.
It really is a dilemma for a woman who has to choose the risk of infecting her child or the risk of giving her child gastroenteritis and killing it that way.
It's a tremendous dilemma.
Jesper Morch of UNICEF, the UN Children's Agency, often at odds with some formula manufacturers.
We seem to be forced back into a discussion with the industry, with the baby formula industry, about whether one thing is better than the other. We're saying that is not the key issue.
Or at least not the only issue. There's the cost of formula, prohibitive in most parts of Africa.
We cannot afford. It's expensive.
And there is also the AIDS stigma that formula feeding can often reinforce. This South African woman, who is HIV positive, feeds her baby formula, but tries to keep that a secret.
Charlotte, would you tell me why you don't want us to photograph your face?
In South Africa, there's a lot of discrimination. And most of the time, that is our fear, major fear, that people would kill us.
And formula feeding is one way to identify a mother with AIDS. So for now, for so many women in Africa, the AIDS cycle continues from one generation to the next. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Bichai, Malawi.
In Mexico City's main square today, triumph for the Zapatistas rebel leaders. Sub-Commander Marcos left his jungle stronghold 2 weeks ago to lead this caravan for the rights of millions of indigenous Mexicans. The rebels meet tomorrow with the Congressional Peace Commission. In Afghanistan tonight, there is word that the Taliban militia has completed the destruction of 2 ancient Buddhist statues. The religious militia's campaign to destroy non-Islamic sculpture has set off an international outcry. At the Vatican, Pope John Paul II beatified a record number of candidates for sainthood today. 230 nuns, priests, and lay people. They died in Spain's civil war in the 1930s and were declared martyrs. Still ahead tonight, the new administration and organized labor square off.
You know, Weech, I've been thinking. Maybe we're wrong to make people choose sides.
My turn.
I mean, we both got our strong points. You're healthy and nutritious. I'm sweet and delicious. Maybe if we work together in harmony, we'd realize we're actually a pretty good team.
Oh, Sweets, I'm touched. Do you really mean it?
Yeah, Weech. I really mean it. Car! Car!
This one's mine. Nice move.
Go jump in some milk.
I'm taking you with me.
Indoors or outdoors, you should see your best.
Right now at LensCrafters, complete pairs of prescription glasses or sunglasses are only $99 each. Why not get both?
The $99 indoor-outdoor sale. Hurry, offer ends March 17th.
Lobster Fest is back. Time to go overboard with all the mouth-watering lobster you can sink your teeth into. So come in for Lobster Fest and go overboard.
This is ridiculous. First, I emailed to confirm my reservation. I called your 800 number to let you know my flight was delayed.
We're sorry, but we only hold rooms when you call our hotel directly.
I emailed and called.
We understand, but you were calling Central Reservations?
Aren't they all connected?
We're gonna get you that room at another hotel.
Yes, and next time call us at the front desk directly, huh?
So I'm the problem?
Business as usual is the problem. Siebel eBusiness is the solution. Siebel, e-business for a customer-driven world.
Finally, you have a choice for fiber that's as effective as Metamucil. Now there's chewable Fiber Choice. Just 2 tablets a day. With no spoon, no powder, no water, no glass. Call now for your free sample. Fiber Choice. Now there's a real choice.
In outer space today, a record. The longest spacewalk ever, 8 hours and 56 minutes. 2 Discovery astronauts rearranged the outside of the International Space Station to make room for an Italian cargo carrier. Negotiations between Northwest Airlines and its mechanics union are still underway tonight. If no deal is reached by midnight, the 4.5-year-old contract dispute will go to the Presidential Emergency Board created last week. By creating the board, President Bush pushed the possibility of a Northwest strike back to mid-May at the earliest. As ABC's Jim Sciutto reports, the president has been quick to put his labor policy into action.
The president's executive order preventing a strike by Northwest Airlines mechanics came with an unusual warning that he would block walkouts at any major airline.
And I intend to take the necessary steps to prevent airline strikes from happening this year.
The announcement came 2 days after Congress struck down workplace safety rules that had the strong support of organized labor and followed 4 executive orders last month that, among other things, made it harder for unions to collect dues for political activities. Labor leaders see a disturbing pattern from the new administration.
There's a meanness and a greediness about some of these, about the way they're pursuing some of these issues, and that's really dangerous.
Today, Mr. Bush's spokesman Ari Fleischer told ABC News that the president is, quote, creating neutrality. In the past, there's been a tilt toward organized labor. There should be no tilt toward labor or against labor. But political analysts do see a tough approach to unions, rooted in a hard-fought presidential campaign.
This is what happens when labor jumps in with one side and does everything they can to impact an election, and they lose, so they have no leverage with the new administration.
Political analysts don't believe the president will go out of his way to antagonize organized labor, but they say his latest moves do mean he won't run from a fight, and labor says it won't back down either. Jim Sciutto, ABC News, Washington.
Coming up, the high-tech Olympics and how what they're showing here may change your life.
I am not an electrician. I am not a decorator. I am not a mover. I'm a home buyer, and I could use some help.
Coldwell Banker has a time-saving service for home buyers and sellers. Coldwell Banker Concierge, now found on ColdwellBanker.com, is designed to help you take care of the details of moving.
Landscaper. I'm not a painter, and I'm going to be okay.
ColdwellBanker.com. When you need an address, try ours.
Feel like joint discomfort is tying you down? Don't just watch life's great adventure, live it. Get new Flexable brand glucosamine. It's like your body's own to help build cartilage that cushions your joints. Take charge of your aching joints, naturally, safely, with Flexable.
Nature made it. Minwax makes it beautiful with rich wood stains and long-lasting protective finishes. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
If you called up most car insurance companies and asked for their competitors' rates, I don't think you'd like the reaction.
Progressive wants you to know that if you're not shopping around, you could be losing a lot of money.
Call Progressive at 1-800-AUTO-PRO.
We'll give you our quote, and if you like, the rates from up to 3 other leading companies.
So call us right now at 1-800-AUTO-PRO.
We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
If we can't save you money on auto insurance, we'll tell you who can.
Shop and buy at Progressive.com or call 1-800-AUTO-PRO.
There's a place where folks can get a lot of good food for not a lot of money. It's got to be Applebee's. Look at this, Applebee's Combo Barbecue. 2 barbecues on 1 plate. Our one-of-a-kind smoked riblets sharing space with 2 mesquite grilled chicken breasts. Is this heaven or what? It's got to be Applebee's.
Harvard University named a new president late today. The officials confirmed that former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers will replace outgoing President Neil Rudenstein. Those considered the best and the brightest in the computer world are gathering this weekend in California, offering an unusual glimpse into the future. 200 technologies are on display. ABC's Jim Goldman tonight on new ways computers may be changing our lives.
When it comes to computers, we're all used to this and this.
This is something we call the Mithril wearable computer.
But that may be about to change.
These are the dreamers who are trying to do what the computer world first thought of 50 years ago with the first computers. Use the computers to augment human intelligence.
Technology may have become a Wall Street nightmare with the dot-com implosion, but innovation is alive and well at this expo, a kind of high-tech Olympics. Some of these cutting-edge devices on display here do not rely on complicated computer commands. Instead, will respond to far more natural human behavior. Other technology makes you feel like you are really there. Devices that engineers say could change entertainment, architecture, and even medicine. Computers could start appearing in some unusual places. This smart medicine cabinet talks to you.
Now take 1 tablet of this medicine. Great.
Keeps track of what drugs you should be taking, even monitors your temperature and blood pressure. Inside this card, linked to the internet, a smart card tailors systems to you, even setting the radio to your favorite internet stations. Voice controls and touchscreens allow you to hear your email while you drive.
Mail from Thomas Bach.
Engineers say this digital family portrait keeps track of an ailing relative. But at what cost? Some say it's our privacy.
The downside of this powerful merger of humans and machines is the ability to control information about humans that till now they never gave up freely.
As computers become a bigger part of our lives, they'll disappear into our lives.
You don't think of a refrigerator as an application of the electric motor. You know, you think of it as a place to keep cold your food. The same will happen to computers. They'll disappear.
After struggling with them for decades, these new advances could make personal computers more personal than ever before. Jim Goldman, ABC News, San Jose, California.
In the skies, the race is on to Sydney, Australia. 35 aircraft took off from southeast England today, many of them vintage models. The 28-day air race recreates aviation's early days by following the same 14,000-mile route pilots took back in 1919. When we come back, a blast from the picture-taking past.
Indoors or outdoors, you should see your best.
Right now at LensCrafters, complete pairs of prescription glasses or sunglasses are only $99 each. Why not get both?
The $99 indoor-outdoor sale. Hurry, offer ends March 17th.
Sis, I snooped in your medicine cabinet. So? You switched to X-Lax.
Yeah, Correctol works with something artificial. X-Lax works with natural senna.
Very effectively, too.
You tried it.
What a find.
What a snoop.
Good morning, guaranteed. Happy family, happy browsing. Find everything housing. Everything housing. CaldwellBanker.com. Online. Happy family, happy browsing. Find everything housing. CaldwellBanker.com. Online. Caldwell Banker.
Attractive what?
Excuse me?
I'm just trying to make sense of all these rebate offers.
These computer offers can be confusing. That $5.99 computer could end up costing you $1,000.
Who you calling?
1-800-GATEWAY.
You don't need a rebate, Michael. Our Gateway Essential PC with an Intel Celeron processor is only $799 with a Year of America Online included.
$7.99. Do I drive a hard bargain or what?
At Gateway, we make it easy.
I asked my doctor about Lipitor. Have you?
Ask your doctor what Lipitor can do for you and call 1-888-LIPITOR or visit our website to learn more.
Two of TV's best dramas are teaming up for an extraordinary crossover event.
If anything does happen, the baby comes first. Promise me.
We should get the baby out now, Ben.
The baby is not ready.
You're going to jeopardize the life of the mother?
This is television at its best.
They both could die.
The Practice tonight, 10/9 Central. Gideon's Crossing tomorrow, 10/9 Central on ABC.
Finally tonight, American photography has come a long way since the first time someone said, "Say cheese." Even so, one early style of picture taking is still popular with some shutterbugs. That story tonight from ABC's Ned Potter.
When Chuck Baker takes pictures professionally, he does it this way. With a studio quality camera that cost $5,000. But when he shoots for love, he is just as likely to use a Kodak 620 Brownie Model 4, a simple Depression-era box camera that's 20 years older than he is.
Just as a brush, a different brush for a painter, it's a different brush for photography.
The first Brownies are 100 years old now, and it's fair to say they changed the world.
The Brownie really allows everybody to have access to photography.
George Eastman, Kodak's founder, insisted the Brownies sell for just $1. So for the first time, regular people could afford to document their lives. The kids, the pets, the momentous, and the trivial.
The Brownie camera allowed you to take pictures of everything. You no longer had to be dressed in your Sunday best on only graduation day or wedding day or a special function.
Look what Ozzy did. Brought home 4 Brownie Starflash outfits with different colored cameras so I could choose the one I want.
Thousands of camera lovers still believe in the Brownie, including Joe Constantino, who volunteers at the George Eastman Museum in Rochester, New York.
Well, of course, it's a very simple camera, but you get some wonderful images.
We tried a little experiment, a modern-day top-of-the-line autofocus camera against a 1929 Brownie Model F.
Are you done yet?
No, I haven't even started.
In a few minutes, our $800 camera got 20 clear shots of Eastman's house. Joe's got 1, but we think you'll agree it's a nice one.
It was a surprise to you that a camera that simple could get good pictures.
I was blown away, and people that I show images to can't believe it.
The Brownie brought photography to the masses. So when the archaeologists of the future dig us up, this last century will be the first in which they'll know what we all looked like. Ned Potter, ABC News, Rochester, New York.
And that's our report. Email us at worldnewstonight@abc.com. We enjoy hearing from you. Tomorrow on Good Morning America, Amazon.com chief Jeff Bezos. I'm Carol Simpson. For all of us at ABC News, have a good week and good night.
Monday, it could be the missing link to cancer. Now that scientists have identified it, does it hold the key to the cure? Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
I tell you, I'm as good as a son.
Robin Hood's daughter is breaking all the rules.